on the RER 2+2 Challenge. 2 hours a day, every day, for 2 weeks. RagingElePhantsRadio.com, the rebellious voice of Texas liberty.
You're enjoying Apostle Claver T. Kamau-Imani on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? Just having fun talking Texas Liberty 411. Thank you for joining me on the Raging Elephants Radio app. Thank you for joining me on Facebook.com/Raging Elephants Radio, where I am finally live video streaming. And also at RagingElePhantsRadio.com, the website where we are live video streaming. You'll see in the right column, just scroll down the YouTube window, just click the live now, and, well, as it's well known, you'll find my international model quality face. Every once in a while, I do get compliments on my appearance video, but I gotta say this. You notice that I do have on, my Astros lid. I'm still too embarrassed to don the Texans gear. That was embarrassing last Saturday. I'm still not over that. I'm still, and Houston isn't over it. I mean, you listen to talk radio, sports talk radio around here, and people are like totally ticked off. They're ticked. They want Bill O'Brien's head on a platter. They want the honey badger gone. Texans had a terrible, it was embarrassing. How do you play a team twice a year, being the Indianapolis Colts, and in a playoff game at home, you are totally 100% unprepared? The Texans didn't even show up. I've never seen that was one of the most embarrassing performances I have ever seen. They didn't even show up. It wasn't as if it was a booty kicking. The Texans were 100% uncompetitive. They were unprepared. It wasn't even ill-prepared. They were unprepared. They embarrassed the city. They embarrassed the state. I have no qualms about saying that. So I'm having difficulty redonning my Texans gear. It may take a few weeks. It may take a few weeks to get the Texans, because I'm embarrassed. I am utterly embarrassed on what happened with the Indianapolis Colts. It's explainable. It's explainable. Lack of preparation by the coaching staff, by the brain trust. That you can't have a collection of talent like that. You can't have a payroll like that. Even if you lose, you must compete. The Texans did not even compete on Saturday. It was ridiculous. They embarrassed the state. They really did. Matthew and I, my oldest and best friend over in Lake Charles, I mean, we were texting back and forth over it. He's a big Cowboys fan. At least the boys showed up. At least the boys did show up. They did compete. Not the Texans. No compromise, no surrender on the border wall. And this dude, Will Hurd, this so-called Republican, this rhino from down there on the... Don't you know that there were counties in his district that voted for Trump? I'll get into that in future programs. I will dig down on that, but today's program is too stacked like pancakes. And then today, Trump announces, I still may use the option of national emergency to build the border wall in order to use funding out of the military. My goodness, it was a national, he should have done that on January 20, 2017. It was a national emergency back then. I mean, what do you call it now when you have 500,000, yes, 500,000 invaders coming into Texas in FY 2018? Empirical data, apprehensions, 250,000. And now a very known fact being repeated even by Marco Amnesty Rubio. I mean, he's changed his tone since the Gang of 8 days. However, even he's saying it's a 50-50 proposition, that if you catch 250,000, which was the numbers here in Texas, just Texas, that means 250,000 got away scot-free. End zone dancing, not a hand laid on them. Pick six, babe. They're in. They're end zone dancing. 500,000. You don't think that's a national emergency? Why? Because they're not shelling us like the Palestinians shelling the Israelis? We don't need to revamp, retool our military at $1.4 trillion when we're being invaded and conquered by toddlers in dirty diapers. That's what I would have said. My speech would have been 2 minutes last night, because I just would have told all the Democrats, your mama, and got it over with. No compromise, no surrender. Border wall. Straight up border wall. Everywhere it's feasible to build it, especially along the 1,254 miles of Texas border with Mexico, you will build it. You will fund it. I don't understand it. Why Republicans are always the ones that have to capitulate. Why they are always the ones that have to acquiesce. They are always the one that surrender to the demand of compromise. Why is that? Why is it that those of us who believe in life, liberty, and prosperity are always the ones that have to settle with the abridgment of it in order to make a deal, to be civil, to show decorum and national unity? Meanwhile, socialism creeps along and our freedoms slowly be eroded away. The ability for us to prosper and care for our families, gone, eroding. Because somehow the unpopular Republicans, the inhumane Republicans, are always the ones that have to capitulate. Weepy Chuck and the Wicked Witch of the West, Nancy Pelosi, can sit there with their operatic tones of compassion and persuade the Nimnong voters of America that their way is better. Republicans need a new branding. They really do. And I think it potentially would be more effective, especially at the ballot box, in getting legislative agendas done. And that is, we're coming for you. We're coming for you eyeball to eyeball. If we can get a hold of your trachea, we're going to grab it and we're going to yank. We're going to get what we want, because what we want is liberty. And liberty benefits all who reside under it. If we have to force liberty on you, that you may become more free, then let it be so. Where's our jackhammer? Where's our sledgehammer? Where's our howitzer? Where's our hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missile to have victory over the socialist leftist Democrats? Where is it? That's the attitude that we need. We're going to blow you out of the water. Our ultimate goal is the extinction of the Democratic Party, because your ideals, your policies are destructive. There is nothing good in them. They're literally unholy and anti-biblical. We want you gone. I heard someone today talking about the Democrats. They will do anything to win. They will win at all costs. The Republicans should. We should. It's politics. It's like a half a level under bloodletting warfare. How come the Republicans don't do whatever it takes to win? Because when Republicans win, especially on a liberty agenda, all Americans win. Especially here in Texas, and we're about to get to Texas. My speech last night, if I was President Trump, would have been about I gave you what my speech would have been. It would have been about 2 minutes, because I would have told everybody, your mama. The government is not reopening until we get full. He said $25 billion at the beginning. I'd say give me the $25 billion, or the government is not reopening under any circumstances. None. Zero. It's not reopening. I don't care if it reopens until the 2020 elections. It's not reopening. This was a promise. Do you think those people who were chanting "Build the Wall" were joking? These people were serious. They were in Minnesota and they were chanting "Build the Wall." They're in Utah chanting "Build the Wall." They're in what? Did Trump do any rallies in Washington State? I don't think so. Okay, New Hampshire, build a wall. Do you think that people were joking? Do you think that we are joking when we say build a wall? We're tired of the border invasion. But who is it supposed to acquiesce? Who is it that's supposed to compromise? Who is it that's always supposed to surrender for the sake of unity? Oh, it's the compassionate, genocidal, anti-Christian Democrats that are the most compassionate, aren't they? The pro-genocide, kill all babies in the womb Democrats are the most humane. The high-taxing Democrats are supposed to be humane. Didn't Fluffy Ocasio just suggest file a bill 70% tax? Boy, that is humane. Boy, you know, who do you work for when your tax rate is 70%? Fluffy Ocasio. I'll call her Fluffy because that's pretty much the composition of her brain matter. Cotton. Some sort of fiber. I can't say cotton anymore because that's racist. Okay, we'll get into what happened yesterday in the Texas House of Representatives when I get back. But this border security thing, the border invasion thing, I want you to remember that. I want you to remember 500,000 just in the 5 border sectors of Texas in FY 2018. And these guys, these guys and gals, these nimnongs, these nut jobs up in Washington, Devil City are arguing over $1.5 billion.
Will advertising on Raging Elephants Radio help your business?
Hello, my name is Galen Beatty at Beatty AC and Heating. I advertise on RagingElephantsRadio.com, and I'd urge you to do the same. Small and large business owners, if you want a really affordable way to get your name, products, and services to a large audience of consumers, I'd advertise on RER.
Ask about our double value package. You'll love it. Easy, affordable, effective. Email RERads@RagingElephantsRadio.com. That's RERads at RagingElephantsRadio.com.
The battle for liberty rages in every Texas community, none more so than in the nation's 4th largest city, Houston, Texas. A tyrannical mayor denies the right to vote to the citizens of the city, signs executive orders that violate the Texas Constitution and the charter of the city, and issues subpoenas for the sermons of pastors. And when the frontline leaders against the mayor's totalitarian agenda wanted a broadcast partner for their Faith, Family, and Freedom tour, who did they request? RagingElephantsRadio.com.
There are a lot of great folks that we owe a big debt of gratitude for promoting this issue from day one. I want to recognize my friend Claver and the folks over at Raging Elephants over here. He was on it from day one. Every single week this man talks about this issue. And so thank you, Claver, for never giving in, never backing down, and continuing to be that loud conservative voice.
RagingElephantsRadio.com, the rebellious voice of Texas liberty.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElephantsRadio.com. Here's a sample from Pastor Keenan Smith.
See, however, though, I believe the White House is supposed to stand as the people's house for all individuals. So I believe it is sinful and wrong for the White House to spend tens of hundreds of thousands of your tax dollars to bathe the White House in rainbow colors, celebrating their victory. So let me say this, that we expect an unregenerated individual to act lost. Lost people act lost. We expect that. We even expect them to embrace or promote or even applaud homosexuality and other ungodly practices because that's where they are in life. We understand that. The question is not do they act lost, but do we act found?
Enjoy Pastor Keenan Smith, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElephantsRadio.com.
When Andrew Jackson ran for president in 1828, his opponents called him a jackass. Jackson liked the image so much, it became the mascot of the new Democratic Party.
Need to book a flight? Check out CheapoAir.com. Cheapo Air offers you the fastest way to compare and book on over 450 flights worldwide. In fact, with Cheapo Air, you can travel out and back on 2 different airlines to get a better deal on flights to more than 2,000 destinations across the globe. You can even look at alternate dates and airports to see if their low fares can get any lower. Plus, Cheapo Air gives you the freedom to change your travel plans within 24 hours of booking. If something comes up, just give them a call. They'll take it from there. Cheapo Air makes it easy to save. Search their site, select your flight, and book, just like that. Your next trip is just a phone call, app search, or website visit away. Plus, with Cheapo Air, you can book with confidence, because with Cheapo Air's best price guarantee, you know you're getting their very best deal every time. Thinking flights? Think Cheapo Air.
Visit Cheapo Air through the RER Marketplace.
Can you do it? The RER 2+2 Challenge. Howdy, rowdy Texans. It's me, E, the millennial voice of RER. I'm a big fan of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. More Texas voters should be listening to RER every day. A better, deeper knowledge of how Texas works will help Texas voters to make Texas more like Texas. The RER 2+2 Challenge. Listen to RER 2 hours a day, every day, for 2 weeks. You'll learn more about Texas politics in 2 weeks than you've ever known. Mark it on your daily calendar. Set your phone alarm. The RER 2+2 Challenge. 2 hours a day, every day, for 2 weeks. RagingElePhantsRadio.com. The rebellious voice of Texas liberty.
Information, communication, action. RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
I work harder than you, Gregory Parker. Gregory Parker is on the Facebook Live. You don't work very hard. I don't know if he's referring to Leanne, who's on the thread, or if he's referring to me. Because Gregory knows better. Gregory knows I work like a Mississippi slave picking cotton. Wait a minute, I can't say that in a minute. Wait a minute, I just did cotton and picking 2 words. I can't put those 2 words together anymore. That's considered racist for all of you folks out there that didn't know that. That's one of the new rules. You can't say cotton picking. I'm still trying to figure out how come they haven't changed the name of the Cotton Bowl. Isn't that racist? Isn't AT&T under some sort of legal jeopardy because they are the sponsor of the Cotton Bowl? You can't even say cotton picking anymore. You can't sell dried raw cotton bowls like in Hobby Lobby anymore because that's racist. Gregory Parker, I don't know if he's referring to me or not, but I may have to give him a little call and say, dude, okay, if I'm not working, then you need to come on the program, okay, and make me work. Now, I'm sorry to bore you guys, but I gotta do it. Okay, yesterday, first day of the Texas legislature, so I'm gonna play you some video. You may have seen it, you may not have seen it. When appropriate, I'll cut in. I'm gonna do kind of like my Brit Hume thing. I'm gonna kind of do my Chris Cuomo thing. I'm gonna kind of do my Rachel Madcow thing, my Donnie Sauer thing, my Anderson Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs thing. So I'll be doing my, it's as if it's like a State of the Union kind of speech. The play-by-play, the color commentary, all together, combined, getting that Apostle Claver synergy working. Now, it may seem boring, but you really can get some nuggets of knowledge on some of this stupid stuff these people say and do under the pink dome. Video 1 yesterday, first session of the Texas Legislature 2019 legislative session number 86. Always the first order of business is the election of the Speaker of the House. And so let's go to those activities right there. And no, don't be bored. It's really important for you to know this is not fake news. This is the real deal. So let's do it, Saints and Patriots.
The next order of business is the election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 86th Legislature of the state of Texas. Nominations are now in order. The chair recognizes the Honorable Dustin Burrows of Lubbock County.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, family, friends, and guests. Welcome to the People's House. Members, as we begin the 86th legislative session, let us reflect on the fact that Texans from all corners of the state, all walks of life, have entrusted each of us to craft policy that will improve the lives of all Texans, to help our districts be heard and accomplish their agenda, and to do this in a very short 140 days. Members, this session, Texans expect and should expect us to pass meaningful school finance reform, lessen the huge burden of property taxes of homeowners, and these big issues transcend the divides of party, ideology, and even geography.
Dustin Burrows out of the Lubbock area, Raging Elephants radio score of 81 out of a possible 100.
This is the first day of the 86th session. The question we have to ask, will we do it?
Yes, we will.
I like that attitude. And I predict at the end of 140 days, the answer is absolutely yes, because we are the Texas House, the greatest legislative body in the entire country. However, in order to be successful, we need a speaker who will let the body work to realize its fullest potential, to let members represent their districts, and to stand up for the House. That is why I rise today to nominate a speaker that the Texas House deserves, Dennis Bonnen. Dennis was drafted into this speaker's race, not just because of his list of qualifications, which are plentiful, but because of his character and his vision for the House. Dennis is someone who respects the members by telling us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Dennis is willing to jump into the arena and fight for what is right, to build consensus. He doesn't wait on the sidelines to see which way the political winds of the day are blowing. Time and time again, I have seen Dennis give voice to what is right without regard for how powerful the other side might be. Most importantly, he deeply respects this chamber and believes every member must be allowed to fully represent their district. Let me close with this. Texas needs the House to lead this session. We need a speaker with the strength and tenacity to let that happen. It is for these reasons and so many more that I nominate my good friend Dennis Bonnen to be the next Speaker of the House, a speaker for the entire House. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, the chair recognizes the Honorable Sinfronia Thompson of Harris County for the first seconding speech.
Okay, that's important right there. Secretary of State, new Secretary of State says, are there any other nominations? And there were none. No Democrat nominations. Now, when this idea that really bubbled up out of the grassroots, promoted by the grassroots, the convention, and the SREC, that the Republican caucus, do they call it conference or caucus here in Texas? Because in Washington, Double City, they call it the Republican Conference and the Democratic Caucus, okay? The Republicans in the Texas House were essentially requested, if not ordered, by the Texas GOP platform to come together, caucus, find some sort of process to get a consensus speaker candidate, and that all the Republicans would vote for that speaker candidate in hopes that it would force the Democrats to put up their own nominee. They didn't do that. The Democrats did not put up a nominee. Now that's important for a lot of political strategic reasons, that they would not put up an opponent to Bonnen as Texas Speaker. You wouldn't see this in D.C., of course, right? Okay. Although the outcome may be well known, there's always the possibility that there is an opponent on the Republican side for Speaker of the House in the U.S. Congress, but not here. And the hope was that if the Republicans did this, it would force the Democrats to put up their own and not do what was done in the past, and that is how Strauss was elected. 11 breakaway Republicans and the vast majority of Democrats, and so the lower chamber is just in upheaval, and there is a natural enmity between the representative body and the electorate. So important to note here, Democrats did not nominate anyone for Speaker. Bonin is solo.
Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chief Justice, fellow members, and distinguished guests. Today I'm honored to stand here in the People's House to nominate Representative Dennis Bonham to serve as the next Speaker of the People's House. It has been my...
Okay, she could at least... Look, I know that African-American dialect, we can have problems when it comes to enunciation and pronunciation. She could at least get the man's name right. It's not Bonham, it's Bonin, B-O-N-N-E-N. I could be being harsh. Maybe I'm being a little bit particular about enunciation, but he is going to be the next Texas Speaker of the House. You would think if you're going to do a nomination speech as a Democrat, that you could at least get the man's name right. Is that possible? I don't know. We're talking about Sinfronia Thompson, Saints and Patriots. That's what we're talking about.
Serve under 6 speakers. I'm eager for Dennis Bonham to be my lucky number 7. In my 45 years serving in the Texas House, I witnessed all kinds of politics.
Standing ovation. 45 years in a public service office. Now, I'm not for term limits, but when you have someone like a Sinfronia Thompson, leftist, socialist, destructive Democrat, I mean, that will make me a proponent of term limits for the legislature. I'm not in favor of term limits for the legislature, and we can have that debate, no problem. Anytime, any place, and you may win, but I have my views on it. 45 years. Do you know what her pension is going to be? Her pension is going to be over $150,000 a year, about $156,000. It's capped at about $156,000. And every time the Texas legislature increases the salaries of state district judges, their pensions get increased. And those pensions are in perpetuity. So she's going to get $156,000 until she kicks the bucket. And then whoever her benefactors are, they get it. I mean, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, $156,000 large. People say, "Oh, I only get $600. I only get $600 a month for being up here on this hard job." But I tell you what, you make it 8 years in the Texas legislature. It's a sweet deal, the pension. And look at listen to the 45 years. And then later Bonin's going to mention Craddock, Tom Craddock out of the Permian Basin. That dude has been under the Pink Dome for literally half a century. They're supposed to be honoring that, I guess. I don't know. I've got a problem when politics becomes first a real career and then the family business. I got a problem with that. Anyway, back to Sinfronia, the leftist socialist jackass out of Houston.
You know, during those 45 years, I witnessed all kinds of people. I've seen tremendous triumphs and devastating defeats. But the one thing that I remain constant through all of this, the House house works best when we work together.
See, that's bad signs. That's bad signs right there. That's bad signs. When you got, first of all, here's a Democrat giving the second nomination speech for Dennis Bonnen. This is Synfronia Thompson. She previously, she's the queen of local consents calendar, which is just as powerful. No, well, not just as powerful, but just as nefarious as outright calendars committee. It is a legislative assassination squad in there. That's what it is. Or just rubber stamp government largesse on a local level. And that's what Synfronia is there to do. And this is one of the things that we wanted to watch. Okay, this so-called bipartisanship, this unity in the House of Representatives. Strauss did it. Strauss would have Democrats and Republicans giving his nomination speech, singing his praises, and it resulted in really nonsensical giveaway of power to Democrats during the Strauss regime. Is this an indication that Bonnen, Speaker Pro Tem under Joe Strauss, is going to have the same practice? Because here's Synfronia Thompson, one of the leftist of the left. Let me get our Raging Elephants Radio score real quick from last session, because I want you to know how communist she is. And she's been there for 24 years. 45 years. Yeah, a 19 is her Raging Elephants Radio Liberty scorecard average out of a possible 100. That's just communist. And there's Democrats there in single digits, but that's just communist. If you got a possible score of 100 on the Liberty scale and you're scoring 19, you're communist. You're not a liberal. You're not a socialist. You are a communist when you're getting, maybe if you're in the 30s, we can say liberal, socialist, maybe. But when you're down under 20, you're Lenin, baby. You're Marxist. So here she is giving a nomination speech, the senior most Democrat in the Texas House of Representatives. There she is. She may be the most senior on the Capitol. I think Senator John Whitmire, one district over from me, has been there maybe one term, maybe 46, 48 years, 47 years over Synfronia, maybe as the longest serving Democrat in the history of Texas. Well, I don't know. Let's get back to Synfronia and what she has, what the wonderful things she has to say about new Speaker of the House, Dennis Bonnen.
As many different people from many different backgrounds, each and every one of us carry dreams and ambitions. Some of those dreams are our own. That's the reason why we were on the ballot. Some of those dreams we carry on behalf of our constituents, holding their future and their children's future within each of what we can accomplish. But I cannot visualize those dreams, nor can you, alone. None of us could. Here in this chamber, every woman and man can and should have the opportunity to work with one another, to serve together, to discuss and debate together the dreams we bring into this chamber. We do our best work when we set aside our differences and find common ground. When we work together, and when we are empowered to serve our districts, we succeed. Representative Bonnen knows this. In his 22 years of experience, he has learned the ins and the outs of the Texas House as well as anyone I've ever served with. As Speaker, I can assure you that he would be committed first and...
Wait, I just want to say that's not my fault. The little glitches in there, that's the government stream. That's not my fault. Don't put it on me. Don't put it on RER. It's their problem. The little glitches that you're gonna see. It's not my fault.
To helping us realize our dreams, to realize our potentials. I know this because he told me. And Dennis is a man who keeps his word.
wonder what word he's given to the Democrats if Sinfronia's up there. Oh, Dennis, he's a man that keeps his word. And Dennis, you know, when King Joe was Speaker of the House for 10 years, he gave us 1/3 of the committee chairmanships. And a lot of the legislation that went to the governor's desk were Democratic initiatives. And, you know, I think we just work so, the House is just so beautiful when it's kumbaya. And when elephants, when rhinos and jackasses work together, it's a beautiful thing. I wonder what Dennis has told Sinfronia, because he keeps his word. Is Sinfronia Thompson going to be the chair of the State Affairs Committee as a Democrat? It's a possibility. Dennis Bonnen, you never know. I don't know.
When Dennis says he wants the House to be united, I trust him. When he says he wants to reduce the partisan bickering that has at times plagued this floor in recent years, I trust him. When he says he wants to put school finance and the dreams we all carry for our children front and center this session.
Who's in charge of the bickering up there under the pink dome? It's the jackasses. He wants to stop the bickering. That's not good news. I want bickering. I'll go for fisticuffs. I was so proud of Rinaldi last year when they got into the pushy shovey on the floor of the House when the invaders took over the gallery, the illegal invaders took over the gallery last year. You guys remember that in 2017, the pushy shovey that went on? It was really close to being the Uzbekistan parliament. I thought it was going to be Thailand, full fisticuffs, chairs flying all over the place. I was rooting for it. We need more bickering. A little bloodshed on the floor of the People's House actually may be productive, if you ask me. That's just my humble opinion. That's all.
Dennis has fought his entire life, and especially his entire legislative career, with intelligence and determination. He has worked ethics as long and as proud as Texas, and he wants to make sure that everyone, no matter who you are, where you came from, or why you're here, he wants everyone that works hard and fight fair to have every chance to succeed. Dennis would be a fighter and a champion for this House. That's why I'm so proud to nominate him to lend his support and to lead this House and to serve as the next Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives. Thank you.
Think about that, Saints and Patriots. That's Sinfronia Thompson, communist economist out of Harris County. I'm so proud to nominate Dennis Bonnen. Man.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Matt Krause of Tarrant County for the next seconding speech.
Okay, this is a positive thing. Now, one thing I will say about Bonnen, he went across the spectrum as far as nomination speeches were concerned. He went rhino, he went Straussian, he went communist, okay? And so bringing Matt Krause, Freedom Caucus member, good move. We'll see if Freedom Caucus members get some committee chairmanships. We'll see. But the thing to really take note as far as Matt Krause is concerned is articulation. The guy is articulate. I don't know if he has aspirations for IR office. But as you're watching the video, notice no notes. Totally extemporaneous. It's a talent to do a speech like this, really have the notes in your head, the outline in your head, and be able to run it down the way that Matt Krause runs this down. Dude is smooth. I mean, the dude is smooth as sorbet. So check out Matt Krause out of Tarrant County. This is his nomination speech for Bonnen.
Thank you,
you, Mr. Secretary. Good afternoon, colleagues. It's so incredible to be back here with you, and I know each of you who got sworn in would know that you would not be here without a support structure from home, and I'm no different, so I want to publicly thank my amazing wife, Jenny, our incredible kids, Jeremiah, Hannah Sue, James, Gracie, and Ruthie, for the support and sacrifice you've given me and will continue to give the next 140 days. Yes, please. On November 12th, Dennis Bonnen called a press conference, and at that press conference, he said the speaker's race is over, and he unveiled a list of 109 names, way more than the 76 he needed. And since in those 2 months, we've got a kind of a window into how Representative Bonnen, soon to be Speaker Bonnen, will operate. And there's two key aspects I want to look at. One was right after that press conference, he announced a working group to select the next parliamentarian. This is a very private decision for the Speaker. As far as we know in Texas history, this has never been done before, to allow members to have input on who the next parliamentarian should be. And so we appointed 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats. But it wasn't just that he had numbers from equal parties, it was who those Republicans and Democrats were. They showed a great cross-section of the House on every line of the political spectrum was represented there. It even had individuals who were not on that list of 109 supporters that he had listed the day before. He made a great decision, and then he made another great decision by having Ford Price and Joe Moody co-chair that committee, 2 of the hardest working, brightest members we have in this House today. And they did an amazing job during that process. And so it spoke volumes to Representative Bonnen that he would bring the membership in, allow them to have input on this very important decision. And then he was in Tyler a few weeks after that, meeting with some members, and the press asked, what does a Speaker Bonnen administration look like? And he said, you know what, my job is to level the playing field, make sure every member is heard, not that they necessarily win the day, but that they have a chance to win the day. And I think that's all you can ask for a speaker, and really all you want from a speaker is to level the playing field and allow the members to represent their districts. And a part of that, they said, well, what's your school finance plan? He said, that's the great thing about being speaker. I don't need a school finance plan. My job is to empower the members and get them in a room till we discuss and figure out what's going to happen. And I love that, because we're going to take on some issues that have vexed prior legislatures, right? Big ticket items, and we're going to need somebody like him leading us through that. And those past legislatures, we shouldn't forget their successes and failures. In fact, somebody told me, use the past, use their hindsight as your foresight as you look for insight into what to do next. And I am confident by learning the lessons of the past, with the cooperation, unity, and hard work of the present, we can ensure a much brighter Texas future. And that's why I'm so optimistic about Representative Bonnen. He's one of the rare individuals I've ever known who has a 30,000-foot view, gets the big picture, but can also get into the weeds on policy matters. Some people can do 1 or 2 of those things. A couple of people can do both those things, but rarely do you have somebody who can do them both well. He's the leader we need for this time. He's been appointed for such a time as this, and I'm honored to rise today to second the nomination for Dennis Bonnen for Texas Speaker of the House. Let's get to work. God bless you guys.
Cross is a smooth daddy. He's smooth. He is smooth as sorbet. He really is. I like Krause. I mean, if Freedom Caucus guy, you know. Of course, we all would have preferred a Freedom Caucus member to be the Texas Speaker of the House. We sure would appreciate it. Would have been much more appreciative if Matt Rinaldi hadn't made it through, because everybody knows that he was kind of the brain trust, or the brains behind the operation. Or Shaheen, not necessarily Sticklin. I had a conversation, an interview with Sticklin last week. I'm gonna chop that up for you and put it and post it on Raging Elephants Radio. Fascinating. That and Steve Toth. Okay, so let's take a break from the nomination speeches. Let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, Saints and Patriots. We'll finish with the nomination speeches, and we'll have Dennis Bonnen's speech and swearing in as well. Raging Elephants Radio, your Texas network. Just having fun talking Texas Liberty 411. Hi to everybody. Facebook Live, Raging Elephants Radio.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? I'm Apostle Claver, a proud Texas nationalist, and I'm here to tell you about Texit. For 25 years, Daniel Miller has been working to see the rebirth of the Republic of Texas. His work has been hard, but his passion is deep. For many Texans, there is a deep yearning, a burning to see the prophecy of Sam Houston come true. But the desire of their hearts comes with many questions. Texit has the answer. It's the new book from Daniel Miller and Defiance Press. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Texit charts the path to Texas independence. This riveting book of facts and philosophy will soothe your anxiety about the coming change and build your confidence that Texans can get it done. You'll want to buy several copies for your family and friends. Like I've said about this governmental mess, the only way out is out. And the best part of Texit, I'm in it. Texit, why and how Texas will leave the Union. It's selling like hotcakes. Buy it on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
One of the premier property management companies in Texas, providing below market rates with above market amenities and service. Hartman has owned and operated commercial office properties since 1983, offering premium office space at an affordable price by saving businesses a significant amount of money by keeping taxes, utilities, and maintenance low. With over 30 years in commercial leasing in Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas, we have learned exactly what our customers require.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Managed on Christian principles with a strong dedication to community benevolence. Whether you need 1,000 or 10,000 square foot of office space, Hartman has that space in one of nearly 50 Texas locations.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Energy efficient buildings, customer friendly experts, supporters of conservative causes. A Texas owned and operated business for 30 years. A proud corporate sponsor of RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Visit Hartman online, hi-REIT.com. Call 800-880-2212 or click the ad on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Pastor Stephen Broden is a featured Bible teacher.
What runs interference with God's instructive word are Satan, the world, and the flesh. Out of these three comes doubt, fear, and unbelief. Doubt and fear leads to unbelief. Unbelief, more than any other sin, is targeted towards the very character and integrity of God Himself. It challenges God's promises, His stated purposes, and casts dispersion on His plan for you and all who believe. This is what Satan did in the Garden of God with Adam and Eve. Satan led them to believe God was holding back on them and was untruthful about the consequences if they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Enjoy Pastor Stephen Broden, 9:30 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Here's how to use the RER app on your commute and get the latest Liberty 411. First, download the RER app on your smart device, phone or tablet, Apple or Android. Search Raging Elephants Radio in your App Store or Google Play and hit the search button on your keyboard. Connect your device to your car audio system. Do it via Bluetooth or auxiliary jack. You riding old school? Stick in some quality earbuds and enjoy the serious HD stereo. No excuses. It's here. RER app.
Get to know Texas politics. RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Hey, thanks a lot for joining me, Saints and Patriots. Two things that I really want to emphasize, that I want to plead with you to do. First and foremost, download the Raging Elephants Radio app. It really is the best way to get rid of the middleman, for us not to have to rely on the censorship, the censoring big tech corporations, because we face it too. I mean, it's for real. Our ability to distribute our content is hampered. And Facebook and Twitter, these are, they're called media companies. They really are not. They do not create content. They're more of distribution pipelines, and the fact that they have the power to determine what content is distributed through their pipelines, especially if you're paying for it, is unconscionable. The way to do that is to get rid of them altogether. And so to have direct contact with you instantly, of course, is email and the RER app. That's the way to go. And as more and more of you do download the app, it gives us more monetary power, correct? So please download the Raging Elephants Radio app. I promise you we'll continue to develop it and offer some great things through the app and make it an evangelistic mission. Get all your friends that you know are liberty driven, and especially if they focus so much on DC and have really no concept of what's happening right in their own backyard where the defense of liberty begins, encourage them, threaten them if you must, take the phone away by force, really, and download the Raging Elephants Radio app. And the second thing is, when you're watching the video streaming, go ahead and share it, because that's one way to beat the censorship as well. One thing that Daniel Miller, much more of a social media guru than I am, has found out, to sort of mess with the algorithms, you sort of need to do two things. Like it, like the video, like something we post on Raging Elephants Radio, make a comment on it, and share it. So basically you have to kind of do three things to try to get the algorithm to say, all right, we're going to distribute this. Otherwise, distribution is pretty much nil. So thanks for that. Download the app. And when you're watching the video stream, always share the link, like the video stream, and just make a comment. A hi Claver, or an LOL, or an XOXO, or something. Share it, like it. That's the way to get us out there and help us grow. Okay, so let's get back to the nomination speeches yesterday. That was the opening session of the Texas Legislature, legislative session number 86. There is a brand new Texas Speaker of the House. Thank you, Lord Jesus. At least, thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you. Now, we'll see what happens, because I can't say thank you, Lord Jesus, for the moment. I need to be thank you, Lord Jesus, all the time, because Strauss is gone. That's an answer to prayer. Now, we may have to focus our prayers on Bonin, but we'll wait and see, how fervent we're going to have to pray about this guy. Let's get back to the nomination speeches. We just heard Matt Krause, which means probably, I think Lyle Larson, a Straussian, comes up. Straight up Straussian. Here we go. Let's continue with the nomination speeches.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Mary Gonzalez of El Paso County for the next seconding speech.
Oh, no, this is Mary Gonzalez. Oh, my goodness. When I talk about Bonin going across the political spectrum, this is what I mean. Mary Gonzalez, the openly admitted, self-professed pansexual. New State Texas Senator Pat Fallon got in trouble back in October because he made a joke about her pansexuality. If you do not know what pansexuality is, I have no fear of being lambasted or attacked or boycotted by leftist socialists or the LGBTQ XYZ community. Being a pansexual means you'll pretty much sleep with anything breathing. That's pretty much what it is. And her dad's a Republican, we come to find out. Anyway, Mary Gonzalez out of El Paso, served 3 terms. Pansexual, okay? Yes, that's important. Yeah, it matters. Here's her nomination speech for Dennis Bonin.
December 1993, I was 10 years old. In the middle of the night, right before Christmas, my dad, who's sitting with me today on the house floor, rushed into my room to get me and my brother out of the house because our house was burning down. That night, my family lost all of our belongings. And as sad as that moment is in my childhood, it was also very transformative. Because that night, a local farmer came and picked me and my brother up and took care of us. And for the next few months, people from all over the community came and fed us, clothed us, and helped us rebuild our home. That is the moment the reason that I am here and I work to give back to my community. After serving the last 6 years, I have learned that we all have stories like mine, the reasons that we serve. I have learned that we all love and care about our districts, our communities, and our state. When I first decided to run for office, my younger brother asked me, "But Mary, why do you want to be a state rep? All politicians are bad." Sadly, the divisions that exist in politics today encourage people to become disenchanted with the political process. Today, and for the next 139 days, well, hopefully 139 days, we can change this. We have the opportunity to change people's minds about politics and politicians. This session, we can come together to work on school finance.
Something just came to me, and I want to say it right here. As Mary Gonzalez, the Democrat out of El Paso, speaks. I've said it before, and every once in a while, I guess the Holy Spirit pricks me to say it. When Democrats are crying, when they're wailing, when they're howling at the moon, when Democrats are in agony, angels in heaven are having a party. But when Democrats are smiling and gleeful and hopeful, angels in heaven are weeping. What are these Democrats doing? Look at Mary Gonzalez.
And economic development. And we can demonstrate what working together across differences looks like.
She is the happiest
because what we do
Democrat
in this building matters.
chair.
And we have the opportunity to model true leadership for the state, the country, and for the younger
I
generation.
want Democrats in agony.
Do we want the younger generation to grow up in a society with divisions and distrust of their fellow Texans? Or do we want them to grow and to learn in a state that honors and respects everybody? I am lucky that this has been modeled to be in my entire life by my father, Alfred Gonzalez. He's my best friend, my mentor, my next door neighbor, and my favorite and most difficult constituent. To love and respect someone who is a political opposite of me allows me to enter the political space wanting to find common ground. And while he may worry about what his Republicans will say about his Democratic daughter, at the end of the day, he has always shown me love and respect. That is why I'm honored today to second the nomination for Chairman Bonin. Chairman Bonin shares the same characteristics as my father, a stern, fierce Republican with a space in his heart and in his leadership style to treat everyone with respect and fairness, regardless of ideology. He creates an environment where each of us can share our stories so that we can serve our districts and the state. His tenure in the House will enable him to build a culture where members in our districts come first. I second this nomination not just for our Texas House, but for future generations of Texans. May we make our state stronger for them. God bless Texas.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Lyle Larson of Bexar County for the next seconding speech.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm playing it just out of obligation because he's on the agenda. Lord have mercy, don't lose your lunch. Oh, jeez.
With all due respect, how many times have you heard Dennis Bonin say that on this House floor? With all due respect. That is his signature phrase. He's in good company. There's been many an English lord that has used this in Parliament when engaged in civil discourse. But there's also, more recently, an American cinema icon, Ricky Bobby. He used it famously in Talladega Nights. The first time that Dennis Bonin imparted his sage advice to me, it was about 3 weeks into my first session. I had a bill that was going to elect TxDOT commissioners. And my legislative director, Emily Eppright, who worked for Dennis Bonin before, said, you need to go down and talk to Dennis about this bill. So I walked down there and laid out the merits of the bill, trying to convince him that it was a great bill. And he listened patiently. Then he sat back in his chair and he smirked and he said, with all due respect, the governor appoints those people and you don't want to upset the governor, do you? It was good advice. I probably should have listened a little bit more. He's given counsel to many of us, and he talked about policy, he talked about procedure, he talked about political realities, and I don't want him to hear this, but he was about 90% right on the advice that he gave. Confucius, the great East Texas philosopher, He said, if your plan is 1 year, you plant rice. If your plan is for 10 years, you plant trees. If your plan is for 100 years, you educate children. Dennis Bonin has been training for this position for over 2 decades, and I truly believe that he will have a multi-generational impact on our state. He's willing to tackle the giants: public school finance, comprehensive property tax relief and reform, water policy, which would include the post-Harvey flood challenges we have, and many other issues. His wit, his intellect, and his procedural genius, it has stirred us, it has entertained us, but most importantly, it has led us through some of the most fierce fights that we've had on this Texas floor over the past decade. He'll be undaunted by any naysayers that rise from this body or across the hall, but he'll guide us with precision and conviction. So, with all due respect, to anyone that would suggest that Dennis Bonin shouldn't be our speaker, I submit to you that he will lead us with purpose and with passion, like he always has. And that's why it's my honor to nominate him to be the next speaker for the Texas House of Representatives.
Larson out of San Antonio, neighbor to Joe Strauss, good friend of Joe Strauss.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Eddie Lucio III of Cameron County for the final seconding speech.
Okay, before this guy comes up, Eddie Lucio III. RER score a 21 out of the Valley. I really wish you would go to RagingElephantsRadio.com, do a search, the box is right there at the top, for Lucio, Lucio, Eddie Lucio, Eddie Lucio 3, however you want to do it. With help from citizen journalist Yvonne Larson, it was uncovered that the guy that you're about to listen to right now makes money off of unaccompanied minors that illegally cross into Texas. He has shelters for them. He's pocketing nearly $60 million a year for the company, for his company that he's a officer of and counsel. And this money is coming from taxpayers out of Washington, Devil City. We don't know if any is coming out of Texas. And I want you to know about the guy that's about to speak on behalf of the Texas Speaker of the House now, Dennis Bonin, the Democrat here, Eddie Lucio III, whose father, Eddie Lucio Jr., is in the Senate and is actually to the right, for a Democrat, of Eddie Lucio III. But you remember those abortion cases, the Jane Doe cases of illegal invader teenagers that come across the border and they're pregnant and they want an abortion? And the courts basically said, yeah, you have to give them an abortion. Texas, you got to do that. Those pregnant teens were in Eddie Lucio III's shelters for the unaccompanied minors that illegally invade, no matter how they come, into Texas. Oh, he's making a pretty penny. I mean, he's about to come here to the podium, and I actually am a little envious of the threads that he's wearing. Eddie Lucio III.
I was worried when I had to follow live. Good afternoon, members, invited guests. It's an honor to stand before you and give the final second nomination of my friend Dennis Bonin for Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives. My first session was in 2007. Right before I came to Austin, I attended a family reunion for my mother-in-law.
I gotta say it.
Dude, look at him. Now, his tie is a little bit too wide for me. But you gotta, I mean, his hair is coiffed. He's got a nice wedding band. He's not wearing French cuffs, which everybody knows that's the only way I roll. The pocket square is a little floppy. But it looks like from here it's pinstripe. The collar on the shirt is sweet. No question about that. But when your company is, bringing in $60 million a year for housing illegal immigrant pregnant teenagers, I guess you can dress like that.
Family in Angleton, Texas. As you know, Dennis is from Angleton. I had the pleasure of meeting Dennis's parents at this party and learned that my in-laws were very close to the Bonin family, like grew up next door close. As luck will have it, my first committee assignment was to serve as Vice Chair of Environmental Regulation, a committee that Dennis chaired. The first thing I learned serving on that committee was that you better come prepared. Whether you were a member laying out a bill or a witness testifying, Chairman Bonin expected you to come fully informed and prepared to deliver honest testimony. See, Dennis works hard and expects people to deliver the same work ethic and intensity as he does. As a small business owner, I can relate to that. The perfect example of Dennis's work ethic and commitment to the process can be seen in his work on the border security bill during the 2015 session. That was the key bill of that session.
All right, now remember, this is Eddie Lucio III, guys. Pro-open border, pro-open border, pro-sanctuary city. And when he says as a small business owner, remember what his business is. Nearly 60 mil sheltering pregnant, illegal teenagers down in the valley. He's got several of them. It's a chain. He's got a franchise of these puppies.
Very important to stakeholders in Dennis's party. It would have been easy for him to manage the passage of that bill in a way to maximize the extent to which he appeased only members of his party. Instead, Chairman Bonin worked tirelessly to craft a piece of legislation that was rooted in stakeholder input. He held countless meetings with members from the border and took seriously all the input they provided. He sought out chiefs of police, sheriffs, and various stakeholders to hear directly from them about the situation on their border. He used what he learned to invest the money of the people of Texas as effectively and meaningfully as possible. That was when I learned what it takes to work and craft a big, comprehensive bill. See, people don't go as fast as they can. They go as fast as they are led. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, good luck keeping up with Dennis Bonin. I can provide many examples like this, but I want to share another side of Dennis, a side that the media doesn't see. See, I was elected at the tender age of 27. Much of my time becoming husband, father, and professional has occurred while serving in the legislature. Serving in the legislature is tough and can take its toll on you mentally and physically. Without knowing, or maybe he did, Dennis personally mentored me throughout this journey. He immediately took an interest in my family. For example, my wife, who's here with me today, thank you, Matt Krause, for reminding me to mention our wives. My wife, Jamie, and I had a scare with one of our pregnancies during a...
Look. He's gonna describe a tragedy, okay? Nobody wants tragedies and stuff, right? Okay, I get it. But all this buddy-buddy, lovey-dovey, kissy-kissy with the Democrats, all this, he mentored me. Dennis Bonin, you mentored Eddie Lucio III. These are not good signs. These are not good signs. We have to be honest about it. All this lovey-dovey, kissy-kissy, huggy-huggy, I love you, you love me, between the Democrats and the rhinos. I'm about to puke. Everybody get out your vomit bowls. Seriously.
A few sessions back, Dennis found me in the hallway, recognized something was wrong, and immediately it told me that the most important thing was family. He walked me to my office and out of the Capitol to ensure I went home. Throughout the years, if Dennis recognizes that the emotion of a legislative day has gotten the better of me, he will seek me out and make sure I'm okay. Dennis is the person many of us turn to when things get tough between our parties, asking him to forge compromise and keep the decorum of the House intact. He has embodied for me the true meaning of a mentor and friend. Dennis takes mentorship seriously and has mentored several young people in his district. As tough as he is in Austin, members, there is no better than him when it comes to relationship and constituency work back home.
How do you
Today
mentor
we have
a
a special
socialist?
guest
How do
from
you do
Speaker
that?
Bonin's district. With us we have Paola Gonzalez. If she can please stand, be recognized. There she is. Welcome to your Texas house. She is a graduate of Brazoswood High School. In 2014, Dennis nominated Paola for the Texas Armed Services Scholarship Program. This scholarship enabled her to be the first in her family to attend and graduate college. Shortly after graduation from the University of Texas, San Antonio, Paola received her commission into the United States Army. Paola personifies what we want young Texans to achieve. Please help me again congratulate and welcome Paola to the Texas House.
Is she here legally? Legitimate question.
Chairman Bonin, thank you for your mentorship, for not only myself, but countless young members, and most importantly, for mentoring and caring about the future of the people you serve. For these reasons, members, Dennis is the right man right now to lead this body. I second the nomination of my good friend, Dennis Bonin. Mr. Secretary, I move that nominations cease and that the Honorable Dennis Bonin of Brazoria County be elected Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives of the 86th Legislature by acclamation, with any member being permitted to cast a present or nay vote by providing such information to the Journal Clerk.
Mr. Lucio has moved that the Honorable Dennis Bonin of Brazoria County be elected Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 86th Legislature by acclamation, with any member being permitted to cast a present or nay vote by providing such information to the Journal Clerk. Is there objection?
All right, there you heard it right there. The big stick. Jonathan Sticklin out of Tarrant County, Bedford. The big stick from his seat in the back. You heard him. Record vote. I want a record vote. Okay. He didn't want unanimous acclamation. He wanted a record vote. So, good for the big stick.
The chair hears none. Oh. A record vote's been requested. A record vote has been granted. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Representative Lucio voting aye. All members voted. There being 147 ayes, 0 nays, and pursuant to the Constitution and laws of the state of Texas, I declare the Honorable Dennis Bonin of Brazoria County to be the duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 86th Legislature of the state of Texas.
147 to 0. Dennis Bonin, 147 to 0. Is that a good thing? When the Democrats are voting. I don't know, man. I don't know. Not a good sign. All I'm saying is not a good sign. It could be all systems go steady as she goes the way it was under the Strauss administration. I mean, Dennis Bonin was Joe Strauss's Speaker Pro Tem. I'm seeing way too much kumbaya. I know it's the opening day and it's supposed to be like this on a traditional basis, and Republicans give nomination speeches and Democrats give nomination speeches. Supposedly we do it kind of differently here than they do it in Washington, Devil City. But you know me, no compromise, no surrender when it comes to Democrats. And all this kumbaya, kissy-kissy stuff, I'm not very comfortable with it when it comes to the Democrats. I'm not. Okay, when we get back, we'll see Bonan's swearing in and his speech, okay? Raging Elephants Radio. If you're not listening or watching, you're not learning. Gotta say hi to Becca. Facebook.com/Raging Elephants Radio. Live video stream.
What's up, Saints and Patriots? I'm Apostle Claver, a proud Texas nationalist, and I'm here to tell you about Texit. For 25 years, Daniel Miller has been working to see the rebirth of the Republic of Texas. His work has been hard, but his passion is deep. For many Texans, there is a deep yearning, a burning to see the prophecy of Sam Houston come true. But the desire of their hearts comes with many questions. Texit has the answer. It's the new book from Daniel Miller and Defiance Press. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Texit charts the path to Texas independence. This riveting book of facts and philosophy will soothe your anxiety about the coming change and build your confidence that Texans can get it done. You'll want to buy several copies for your family and friends. Like I've said about this governmental mess, the only way out is out. And the best part of Texit, I'm in it. Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. It's selling like hotcakes. Buy it on RagingElephantsRadio.com.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
One of the premier property management companies in Texas, providing below market rates with above market amenities and service. Hartman has owned and operated commercial office properties since 1983, offering premium office space at an affordable price by saving businesses a significant amount of money by keeping taxes, utilities, and maintenance low. With over 30 years in commercial leasing in Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas, we have learned exactly what our customers require.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Managed on Christian principles with a strong dedication to community benevolence. Whether you need 1,000 or 10,000 square foot of office space, Hartman has that space in one of nearly 50 Texas locations.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Energy efficient buildings, customer friendly experts, supporters of conservative causes. A Texas owned and operated business for 30 years. A proud corporate sponsor of RagingElephantsRadio.com.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Visit Hartman online, hi-REIT.com. Call 800-880-2212 or click the ad on RagingElephantsRadio.com.
RER Cross is the Christian programming of RagingElephantsRadio.com. Pastor Stephen Broden is a featured Bible teacher.
What runs interference with God's instructive word are Satan, the world, and the flesh. Out of these three comes doubt, fear, and unbelief. Doubt and fear leads to unbelief. Unbelief, more than any other sin, is targeted towards the very character and integrity of God Himself. It challenges God's promises, His stated purposes, and casts dispersion on His plan for you and all who believe. This is what Satan did in the Garden of God with Adam and Eve. Satan led them to believe God was holding back on them and was untruthful about the consequences if they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Enjoy Pastor Stephen Broden, 9:30 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Sundays on RER Cross, right here on RagingElephantsRadio.com.
Here's how to use the RER app on your commute and get the latest Liberty 411. First, download the RER app on your smart device, phone or tablet, Apple or Android. Search Raging Elephants Radio in your App Store or Google Play and hit the search button on your keyboard. Connect your device to your car audio system. Do it via Bluetooth or auxiliary jack. You riding old school? Stick in some quality earbuds and enjoy the serious HD stereo. No excuses. It's here. RER app.
Get to know Texas politics. RagingElephantsRadio.com.
Okay, let's go right into part two of this. Bonan's swearing in and his speech. And for the second time, I'll try to, the best I can, limit my remarks. Sometimes I just can't help myself. Okay, so here's Dennis Bonin, the swearing in and his inaugural speech.
In honor that I administer this oath to you. Mr. Speaker, if you will raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Dennis Bonham.
I, Dennis Bonham.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
Of Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Of the 86th Legislature of the State of Texas.
Of the 86th Legislature of the State of Texas.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States and of this state.
of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Honor and pleasure to introduce to you the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 86th Legislature, the Honorable Dennis Bonnen of Brazoria County.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all very much. I'm humbled by the opportunity to serve as your speaker. I have so many people to thank today, starting with my wife, Kim. People will spend just a little bit of time, figure out very quickly that Kim is destined for sainthood. You, Jackson, and Gregory are the center everything I do. I also want to say hello to my namesake, Uncle Dennis Pesaurus, who's watching online at his home in Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you, Uncle Denny. Mom, you and Dad have given us everything. Thank you. Elected leaders and distinguished guests, thank you for being here today. Your presence speaks volumes about the opportunities we have before us. I look forward to working with each one of you. I want to thank my good friend, Brian McCall, who has mentored me through this transition. Brian honorably served as a member of the Texas House for almost 20 years. And is one of the most honest and upstanding individuals I've ever had the privilege of working with. Thank you, Chancellor McCall. I also want to thank Speaker Strauss for his leadership in this chamber and his friendship during his tenure and during this transition. And I want to thank Speaker Tom Craddock for his continued service to the state of Texas. He's represented his district for the last 50 years and is the longest serving member of the Texas House of Representatives in our state's history. He was entering public service just when I was entering the world. Thank you, Speaker Craddock. When I was first elected to the Texas House, Pete Laney led this chamber. He did so with a spirit of bipartisanship and fairness. Thank you, Speaker Laney, for honoring all of us with your presence here today. We're also blessed with another former speaker with us today, Speaker Gib Lewis. He was the first speaker to be elected to the post 5 times, and I'm grateful that he joined us here today. Thank you, Speaker Lewis. It is their leadership of this body that is the foundation on which we stand and from which we will build. I am humbled to have my name mentioned with yours, and I hope to uphold your legacies of leadership. Truthfully, one of my greatest personal moments was being Speaker Pro Tem. Then serving in that role as my mentor did and great friend, Tom Muher. I wanted and still want to be just as good a member as Tom was. Through his example, he showed me how to be a good member of the Texas House and how to be a good representative for my constituents. Tom, to say I'm honored doesn't even get there. To have you here with us today. Thank you for all you have done for me, for my family, and thank you for your friendship. You truly are a great American. To be very honest, this is a little bit of a weird experience for me. I never dreamed or planned to be in this position. Truthfully, at this point in the ceremony, I'm usually thinking, man, I hope he doesn't talk too long. Kim was right. I should have eaten before coming to the floor. Every opening day brings with us feelings of excitement to be back with some of our closest friends, fired up at the chance to do something meaningful. Nobody really knows what that feels like, except for those of us who are chosen by our communities to serve and sit here today. So right now, I am plenty excited to get rolling. I'm almost as excited as Linda Winder, my high school journalism teacher, neighbor, and former district director. She was the first person to RSVP for today's ceremony, probably because she had to see it to believe it. During her 36 years of teaching, she taught thousands of students. Yet there was just one who got her so wound up that she hit them. I don't know why you assume it was Greg. I think that's a little unfair to Greg. Truthfully, yes, it was me. No laws were broken. It was really just a tap on the arm, but still she was worried she might get in trouble with the school. So she called my mother to explain. My mother's response, without hesitation, hit him again. My mother was probably just glad she had someone to help keep me in line. Just as these women have figured out early on that I can be somewhat challenging. As my friends expressed earlier, I do have a bit of a reputation. However, I come by it very honestly. I'm Greek. When people call me challenging, believe me, my dad is nodding his head in agreement from above. My dad always told us, say what you mean and do what you say. So I've never seen the point in sugarcoating things, especially when that might confuse the issue or slow down progress towards a meaningful result. Those of you who know me know that I operate with an efficiency and honesty that can leave a mark. I am direct, and I'm a problem solver. These are both traits that I inherited from my father. Right now, Texas has a number of problems to resolve, and it's our duty to produce meaningful solutions for all Texans. As we all know, a Texas legislative session is way too short to get caught up in things that don't lead to real results. In a state as big and diverse as Texas, there are plenty of ideas about how we should do any one of these issues. And these ideas often point in a different direction. It's our job to reconcile the differences. This chamber is the perfect place for those ideas to be heard. We must do that with mutual respect and understanding for one another. And in doing so, we will justify the trust that our constituents have placed in us to represent them in this great chamber. I remember a time when we celebrated legislators who were willing to come to the table and find agreement that led to workable solutions. I can admit that I'm a very, very competitive person. Just ask Jackson or Gregory how much mercy I show them on a family game night. But the work in this chamber cannot be a zero-sum game. Instead, it's a proven system for finding solutions to the challenges that face our state and our constituents daily, but only when we work together. When it became clear that I would have the privilege of standing here today, I made fostering the spirit of collaboration my number one goal. I tried to visit as many of you in your districts as possible, from West Texas to East Texas, and from the Panhandle to the Rio Grande Valley, to get up close and look at the issues that matter most to you. In many conversations along the way, I would be asked, what is your agenda for the House? I would laugh. Then I would explain, that's the beauty of being Speaker. The agenda is up to you. You as a body. You as the voices of your constituents. My job is simple. Bring passionate people to the table. Then keep you in the room until we find a solution. That process is going to require a lot of tough conversations with a little give and take. I can tell you from experience that tough conversations are even tougher when they're between strangers, or even worse, adversaries. That's why I have a charge for all of us. I want us to get to know one another even better. While we know one another, we must go beyond that. It's time that we know each other and every member on this floor. Make new friends. Look beyond differences. Learn what life events shaped one another's perspectives. That'll show us that we are all truly connected. For instance, you may understand me better when you learn that I grew up in a town of 18,000 people in the district I've represented now for 22 years, well outside of the Houston suburbs, surrounded by rice farms and cattle among the hardworking people of the Gulf Coast. You will discover that my passion for education centers on the fact that I grew up a dyslexic kid in a small town, at a time when there were almost no options available to students like me. My siblings excelled academically. I tried to understand how I fit into the bond and gene pool. And you will know that I learned toughness from a mother who fought for me and saw me through my entire education, never taking no for an answer and finding solutions where people said none existed. That is the root of my tenacity. Your background and life experiences are a big part of why you are here today. I encourage each of us to be intentional about getting to know one another better, to bridge partisan, geographical, and social divides, to learn about the passions that inspired each of us to pursue public service in the first place. I encourage our more senior members to invest in the new members of this body, to mentor them so that they can be more effective and efficient, like Tom Uher has done for me and still does today. When we invest in our relationships and mentor one another, we better prepare ourselves to face the challenges before us, because we have big issues to tackle, like school finance and property taxes. These are complicated issues that can no longer wait. Pressing issues that deserve a very meaningful result. You might even call them intimidating, but we can advance on them together if we change our perspective and our language. Let's try doing that by applying the words of a sermon I once heard with my sister in college. Replace the words problem or challenge with opportunity. In our conversations over the past few months, we shared your passion for a range of opportunities. We have an opportunity to tackle our number one priority, to fix the state's broken school finance system. And of course, to strive to ensure that Texas schools are the best in the country. That also gives us the opportunity to show teachers and retired teachers from Amarillo to Anahuac that we appreciate their years of service and investment in the lives of our children. We have the opportunity to improve the lives of Texas children, from prioritizing early education and improving the CPS system to addressing school safety and mental health issues that underlie the tragic episodes that have shattered Texas communities and families. We have an opportunity to intensify our fight against the despicable crime of human trafficking. When it comes to property taxes, we have an opportunity to reform a broken system that is taxing Texans out of their homes. Opportunities abound in healthcare, whether we're finding a better way to support trauma care in the rapid growth area like the Rio Grande Valley, or educating future medical professionals to fill shortages in our rural communities. The road ahead presents endless opportunities. Improve the lives of our constituents, from our state's continued recovery from Hurricane Harvey to the frustrations people feel when they visit one of our state's driver's license offices. I know. I'm convinced we can move the needle on these opportunities if we treat one another with mutual respect and understanding, and stay focused on the lives we affect with every vote we take on this floor. Growing up, whenever Greg, Mark, Eleni, or I set out on a new endeavor, my father always told us, leave it better than you found it. That was my dad's advice to me the day I was sworn in to this house, and it would be his advice today. So let's be sure that when we adjourn sine die, we leave this house and our state better than we found them. Thank you. There's a saying we have here in Texas. As Texas goes, so goes the nation. That statement has never rung more true than it does today. Our federal government is steeped in gridlock and partisanship. For Washington, politics has become more important than people. But unlike Washington, Texas stands apart. We lead the nation by doing things our way. And we do it with strength, unity, and resolve. And we will once again rise to the occasion and serve as the nation's model for effective governance. That's what this body has done for over 130 years. We represent the will of the people, come hell or high water. John Steinbeck nailed it when he described what sets Texas apart. He wrote, "For all its enormous range of space, climate, and physical appearance, and for all the internal squabbles, contentions, and strivings that Texas has, a tight cohesiveness, perhaps stronger than any other section of America. Rich, poor, panhandle, Gulf, city or country, Texas is the obsession and the passionate possession of all Texans. This house is the possession of all Texans, and it is our privilege to serve all of them with passion, pride, and a willingness to put the common good above all else. Thank you all, and God bless Texas."
save it because you already are over time. But let me put it to you this way. I don't think the word liberty was uttered ever once. Maybe? I don't know. That wasn't a liberty-driven speech, that's for sure. I'm out of here. The amazing Doc Green is up next. We'll finish everything else up tomorrow and on Friday and in future days to come. Because if it's Texas, it never stops. The battle for liberty begins in your own backyard. I'm Apostle Claver T. Kamau-Imani, the Christian politician, your ultra-conservative soul brother. My enemies under the pink dome call me the purifier, and I like it. From Houston, may the Lord Jesus bless you. May the Lord Jesus bless the future independent sovereign republic of Texas.